Information is key, and that is why we aim to unlock the doors of opinion, unveiling the stories that need to be told. The Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion, tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
You are listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
Lovely and beautiful Tuesday morning, the 14th day in the month of October 2025. I want to believe it is a lovely one on the other side of the radio. Welcome still the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM. This is where we definitely make sure and always take to our promise to make your morning a better one by bringing to your listening pleasure, perusing the pages of our newspapers, and also bringing discussions that would definitely be of benefit, keeping it locked. And of course, a part of how we appreciate you as well is, what we've started. And I'm sure that my colleagues have been, especially in December, bag of rice. And I'm sure that you want to secure the bag, but not bag of money at this time, the bag of rice for the festive period in December. So the only thing you need to do is just keep listening, the chance to listen right from the beginning to the end. You never can tell when it will just pop up, and the presenter will definitely ask the question. The only thing you need to do is keep answering the questions. The more you answer, the more chances you get. Another tip: don't stick to a program, listen to all the programs and keep answering correctly the questions. The more you answer correctly the questions, the more you get the chance to win a bag of rice. Joy that benefit as well in December. But without further ado, you're welcome. Still Morning Express right here on Mainland 98.3 FM. This is where trends in the papers, where we peruse and review our newspapers, our dailies, to see what's going on, to keep you abreast, keep you updated, just ride on our shoulders while you're preparing for work. I mean, you have a lot to prepare for the day, and so do all the giving perspective to it. You can even still contribute to that Jerry Mainland focus. But trends on the papers, we just want to bring on board all the stories and important stories, be it politics, be it socio-economic, be it even sport, be it health or side. For what will be joining us shortly. But while we're trying to connect, to Side Forward, you can join us live on Facebook and YouTube. We're streaming live there to enjoy and use either Facebook or YouTube, whichever is more convenient for you. And then you search for Mainland 98.3 FM and you get to join us live right there. You can also listen via Radio Garden, right? Go to Apple Store or Play Store and download the Radio Garden app, and you search for Mainland 98.3 FM. You get to listen to us right there. And also you can listen via our website. Yes, very accessible and easy to use. Just go online and search www.mainlandfm.com and you get to join the conversation to Mainland 98.3 FM at every point in time. All right, we have Side Forward on the other side. Hello, Side Forward. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Lady Mo. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Happy Tuesday. How are you doing too?
Yeah, very good.
Hope you had a restful night.
Yeah, it was a restful night, but fuel is not 900.
Analysis has started like that, but why? I mean, even with the free Dangote initiative to deliver fuel and all of that, just to all this initiative is just towards an end, which is reduction, so that we can have at least a fair price in fuel. We are still struggling with cooking gas. I mean, now the cooking gas is still scarce. People are still back. Is now 955 naira, according to
depending on where you are buying it.
Depending on where
I bought at now and 10 naira yesterday per liter.
910 naira.
Yes.
Wow. Well, welcome on board, Side Forward. Anyway.
And as at yesterday morning, a day before, I bought at 860 naira. As I yesterday evening, when I was trying to, fuel off my car, I bought that now around 10 naira per liter.
910 naira. And it's ranging from 900 naira to 955 naira. According to the Independent Petroleum Markets Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, he attributed the hike to, he's saying that it's supply and logistics challenges that are incurred by major marketers in the industry. That's why.
How did the logistics just change like that suddenly? And again, it's not just the NNPCL; it's across even the Dangote people who are about the reality of Nigeria.
And the fear, you now know the fear. The fear anytime we have inflation like this, we have hike and in prices, is the fear is we keep it. It doesn't come down. Now we're talking about, when do we know where you have his in logistics and supply? When?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We can't even know. It's not something that whatever happens, you go with it. The next day another thing happens. So you can't even plan yourself. Because again, I'm talking about today. They were still selling at 860 naira per liter. And towards the evening, they were told to adjust their prices to now 10 naira per liter. So if you ask them now,
it's really, welcome to Trends in the Papers once again. Since we have started on that note, let me ask, have power been restored? Because we've
yes.
Oh, okay. We thank God.
Since last week, yes.
We thank God, because really,
still very epileptic, but it's not like the total blackout. It's just what it is, really. There are places where they will tell you for 6 months, I really don't want to get into the mood. Because I know that I want to just keep myself.
We choose happiness over everything. We choose happiness over everything. Well,
over 40 million Nigerians have mental health issues.
It's very important, actually. Well, since we've started on that note, it's still Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. Let's just keep with the oil sector and see what we have across board. Meanwhile, that very increase announcement, the Vanguard newspaper has that very story about NNPC and others hike fuel price to 955 naira per liter. Okay, we have it between 900 naira and increase. Well, also speaking about oil and fuel, Dangote from The Guardian. Pardon me to just cross carpet to The Guardian, because I just want us to talk about it so that we don't scatter the conversation on the oil sector. The Guardian comes to discourage local investment. The founder of Dangote Group had mentioned and cautioned against using the cry of monopoly this, monopoly that, to discourage indigenous investment and industrial growth, insisting that no one is prevented from investing in Nigeria. I was making the statements yesterday, and of course it was represented, and according to him, he said focus should instead be on policies that encourage productivity, that encourage innovation and fair competition, and not just laying on the claim of monopoly this, monopoly that too many people with the means to build industries chose instead to invest abroad, that then people of monopoly to stop their growth, that no one is prevented from investing. What he is doing, that will definitely always offer support in whatever that they can. That's according to Dangote Receive story. The big story for The Guardian also this week is also about petrol import, and all of Nigeria's reliance on petrol imports has now deepened despite the commissioning of the 650,000 0.64% of total national consumption in the last 9 months, coming as many African countries, Dangote refinery, and Nigeria's ambitious plan to become the continent's refining hub. That's according to the data published by The Guardian, 25, of which 9.08 billion liters were imported, while 3.59. Now this is the difference. Imports petrol is 9.08 billion liters, while 3.5 billion liters, the level of imports, petrol imports, despite local production here, side forward.
Not using the excuse of monopoly to discourage the sector. Consistently on the show, we have said that this idea of, again, if you look at where we are coming from and where we are, I don't think any Nigerian will now be afraid of any monopolistic tendencies from a private refinery. Whereas the same people who are talking about PCL and importer of petroleum products into the country for years, it was, almost 2 decades of pain, sorrow, anguish, of Nigerians, who had suffered from scarcity, adulterated fuel, as I'm doing. I'd rather put my money in the country and build a refinery here are taking the risk to put my money here. Others were putting their money into. We cannot continue to do this and expect that people are going to be able to look at our local market for investment. We have to protect people. National asset. Yes, run by a private businessman, but whether we like it or not.
Right.
So if you look at the advantages that we're going to get from Dangote, whereas the same people who are shouting monopoly prefer to import this product, take a dollar, there'll be enough protection on the part of government for investors like Dangote. Use is a consumer protection agency that we want to come up with. If you understand what I'm saying?
Right,
but we are not going to be afraid to the Dangote refinery. We are still heavily reliant on, still run the structure, whether you like it or not. Dangote is still working very hard on distribution products. I'm still going to continue to do it until when it becomes completely unprofitable for them to do it. If you understand what I'm saying. And if you look at the part of the report that says that we are now having, it's not impossible. You think it's impossible. Because, you see, why do you think that? And so if you stop importation of refined petroleum products into the country, you spoil their business. They've invested in, some of them have invested in this refinery. And so the only way to continue to match the price, but Nigerians are the ones that are bearing the brunt. Right. You can see the instability we have. You wake up today, it's 800 and something. Tomorrow it is 900. And that's what we're going to continue to deal with, unfortunately.
Newspaper, you want to get that comprehensive report and more details to that. And also on Dangote warning, quickly talk about a fresh bid by the National Assembly to shift the during their meeting, right? The National Assembly had shifted or brought forward, because we have been clamoring for electoral reform here, electoral reform there. That's of concern. I
like the way the Guardian was able to summarize and put it in a very concise
manner. Okay, let me just go through. He's proposing that the 2027 presidential and governorship election should be held in Electoral Amendment Bill 2025 will aim to allow all election litigations to be concluded before May 29th. We used to have most times. And so the draft amendments was made yesterday during their plenary public hearing joint organized, which had also, spoken about the interest of that. So on of the incumbent tenure. So the calculation is that it's supposed to have that normally as the new poll date. So 3 months earlier than the traditional February or March election window. And a similar provision also, Section 4.5, Section 4 of the Federation. And it was made available by the House Committee. We have introduction of early voting, which allows security personnel, INEC staff, electronic transfer of results. Yes.
Collation and results.
That also penalty
also to manual.
Yes, and give is all about. And while some had agreed to the fact that it would help, while others, especially opposition, it will only help the administration. You just want to push or want to give more time for the incumbent president, as President Bola. What's your reaction to it? First of all, we've been clamoring for electoral reform. Is this a step forward? Are we moving ahead into getting reforms in our electoral system?
Well, I first must tell the opposition that you cannot just oppose everything and anything because you are in the opposition. So even if it makes sense, I think that we have to begin to, when the right things are done, we should say it. If we need to demand for more, let us demand for more. But it's not just to say, so far it's coming from them, it can never be good. No. We've been talking about electoral reforms, and if you're trying to do a summary of what is captured in the Justice Momodu Electoral Reforms Committee report of 2009, and some of these things I need for us to conduct the elections and conclude on it 6 months before swearing in.
Right.
You understand? 6 months. So instead of having a presidential and governorship elections, is that that 6 months gives the opportunity for people who are not satisfied with the election to go to court, and then we can conclude all the legal issues before swearing in. You understand what I'm saying? Stated, I think within the 90 days. Yes. So what they did was that between the tribunal, appeal court, and Supreme Court, everything should be concluded within 180 days, 185 days. So before we swear in anybody, there's always been this concern about the fact that, look, there are still court cases about the election of someone. is already sworn in as said in the favor of the person who is in charge of the country at that time. So I agree with that part of the proposal. Can we have the litigation, all election matters in court must be concluded within a specific period before we swear in the winners? That's number two. They also talked about the fact that the National and State Assembly elections should also be done in that manner. Those ones don't even get to the Supreme Court. We start with the tribunal. No reason why.
Exercise
police officers.
Right.
We're also Nigerians. Journalism, one of electronic. You understand? Collation and transmission of results. But what they also said was that problem was that the issue of IRS, electronic transmission of results in real time, was just it was not a part of the law. It was just a part of INEC's. Yes, it was part of the electoral process, but it was not accepted as a part of the law. We can begin to push to ensure that there should not be any reason why we must not transmit our results real time, and that should become a part of the court. It was almost like a viewing portal without any legal backing. So I would still say that instead of this piecemeal approach to reforming our electoral process, can we have a more comprehensive approach? From Jonathan to Buhari now to this government is that we are just taking a part of what was recommended in 2009. Whereas there's no reason why we cannot adopt the NH chairman should be taken away from the president
and it's given to the NJC.
Yeah, so the recommendations are fantastic, but I don't know why we are so reluctant to having that holistic reform in our electoral process. But I think that at least at all ain't bad. They say our bread is better than chinchi.
Right, and 1,000 miles starts with a step.
Exactly. So at least we can start with this one while we are still insisting that the right thing is done. Let us adopt that Ways report, so that we can have a well-rounded reform in the electoral process, and hope that with our elections we can get something meaningful in 2027.
Right.
But for the opposition, they cannot just wake up and condemn everything and anything. It doesn't make sense.
Well, page is also across board, and also the Guardian has that on page 3. National Assembly proposing November 2026 for next general election, DFM, and you can also listen via Radio Guardian and also via our website Of course, academic activities now were grounded across various public universities yesterday, sequel to the breakdown of talks between both parties, and it was announced by the ASU president in Abuja on Sunday that they're going to be embarking on the strike yesterday, even as this is in 7 days' time. But the NLC, the no work, no pay policy that the federal government had earlier said they would enforce, which is said would not resolve the crisis in the nation's public tertiary green dispute over the welfare, the funding, and even the implementation of the 2009 ASU federal government agreement. And he's saying while they've also released another 150 billion naira that had been captured in the 2025 budget for needs assessment to be disbursed in 3 tranches. So, I mean, that's the updates we're getting according to
this back and forth, the needless destructions we have with our tertiary education in Nigeria. Very extremely tiring, I must tell you. I've read through what ASU is saying. I've also tried to, because again, I'm trying to create a balance really in my head on this ASU federal government matter. And in trying to check the position of ASU, also so government after government will be just pushing it forward. Now we are
committees
it's not really committed to solving a problem. That is when they set up a committee. So when the committee now sits, the committee will now also make their own report and recommendation. There will now be another committee that will sit to issue a white paper. You now have committees reviewing other people's tertiary institutions. But formerly, I think it was formerly in the Ministry of Health. Before they moved him again to do every time. You understand what I'm saying? It's not, especially not with university lecturers who know what they are doing. You understand?
Right.
So, for example, during the Buhari time, I think for almost now, so I would advise the minister, they are at the final stage of talks with ASU. The ASU leadership has said that they are talking nonsense, quote and unquote. They need them to more engagement with the ASU leadership. Because ASU is saying that whatever they propose so far is even an embarrassment to them. They are not taking them serious. So I will advise the minister to calm down. Others will continue to suffer. needlessly. This is the time that we should be talking about studying the shit of our education. We are lacking. No research, the quality. Even look at the ranking behind the Nigerian university there. You check the first 100 in Africa. Let's hope that ASU and the government will find a middle ground, resolve this.
Advanced development now. We are still struggling with the basics. I mean, what shouldn't be, and I mean, the basics that we should not really, as Nigeria, 65 years, should not still be, you know, still dragging at this point.
It's not about what we say. Understand? In fact, we struggle to. We are good at saying things, so we'll do this, we invest, at the end of the day, go to our universities and see what is the condition of things, especially the public universities.
Private university, where they know that the arrest are showed at least get your education certificate.
The quality may not be superb,
right? Well, page 2 captures that in the Punch newspaper. Also, the Vanguard has that. It also has that very report about Labour wading into federal government ASU rift, strike grounds vast nationwide. Page 6 captures in the Guardian newspaper precisely of the convicted billionaire kidnapper Chukwudu Meme, popularly known as Evans. Yes, so yesterday was rearranged before Justice Oyindamola Okekoka of the Ikeja division on an amended 5-count charge bordering on murder, attempted murder. Emeka committed the offences on or about August 27, 2013.
These have been lingering from one court to another court. So it's just because he's also a kidnapper now. He's standing trial for kidnapping. So if other kidnappers could make the list or on the soul of the country, if you try to, I was listening yesterday to Mainland Focus with Faith, and I've seen people who are trying to excuse the president. This idea of trying to excuse the man on whose table everything starts for him to sign it off.
Yeah.
If he declines, then the pardon cannot go. That is why it is called what? Presidential pardon, Lady Mo. We have how many on that list? 175 things. And as a president with experience, who is well traveled, who is well exposed, he can begin to say, no, I don't think this deserves, you understand, this pardon. It's embarrassing to even find that on that list, almost 25% of the people pardoned are drug pushers. Lady Mo, drug. I want to don't okay.
Let's move ahead because it was in the Punch newspaper. Also, let's quickly take a trip to Osun State. During the visits of Governor Ademola Adeleke into the alleged killings of retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, the Corps Commander Adekunle Omoyele here for the injured victims. Apparently, we had killings the former IGP to lead that very.
He has visited that community. The report was that the Amotekun Corps had opened fire in attacks and that they had to, proper investigation into this matter. They are calling for the arrest of the early guy. Because what the APC is saying in Osun is that, look, it is up to the police for investigation. You understand? Because 3 people, I don't think it is the job of the governor to decide who is going to lead the investigate the killing of people. It is the police that can decide how they want to go about the investigation, and they are saying that, look, you can see that in that report, there's nothing said about the guy's whereabouts. Does he have an interest? The good thing is that, look, Omoyele can also have his day in court to defend himself. You understand? But I can see that the curriculum of the governor is too much on this matter. It's making it look as if it's a political matter, but we're talking about the fact that, look, people are doing it.
All right. Well, let's see how it pans out. Definitely defending the death of innocent lives. Page 19 captures that in the Punch. Also from the Punch quickly, we have the Kaduna State chapter of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association prosecution of Fulani herders in southern Kaduna, saying that they are condemned as mark ban and alleged that on September 28, 2025, that 4 herders were ambushed by armed militias at Tandan village in Jema local government area while trying to access an old cattle route allegedly blocked by local groups. And according to tenants, for their families were scattered into wilderness after the act. And so they're accusing the chairman of the Jema Local Government Council of allegedly interfering with police investigations and frustrating efforts to bring the perpetrators to justice, claiming that while the divisional police officer had made commendable attempts to arrest those responsible, that the council
You see, at least under this governor of Kaduna State, Governor Ubasani, they've been peace, at least relative peace, especially in southern Kaduna. You know, it's been very, you know, when you talk about killings in Kaduna State, the first thing that comes to your mind is southern Kaduna, that it has been very terrible in the past. And one will hope that this is not going to start another round of killings, retaliatory attacks. I don't see real commitment from our leaders to solving the problem. This thing about herders and farmers, herders and crop farmers, you can see what the Mᴏᴜ people are saying. I'm coming to them too, the Mᴏᴜ people. You can see what they are saying, that they were trying to access an old grazing route, Abi, before they were attacked, according to them. To look at how we can reform this business of cattle grazing, cattle breeding, livestock farm. People are saying that this idea of moving cattle around is old, is archaic, it is breeding insecurity in the court, but the crop farmers are having issue. You move your cattle into where they are farming, where you move your cattle around. Things of doing this business. Lady Mo, if you go, you understand? So we have to begin to innovate. It cannot be business as usual. You cannot continue to do your business the old way. When you are affecting your own business is affecting other people's business. You say you want to go and access an old continent grazing route. I don't know whether that can even exist again. Now look at what we have now. They are now saying that they keep their livestock farming. What are to solve any problem if we are not careful? If this matter is not quickly attended to now, we have another problem on our hands.
We have reprisal actions taken. I mean, the ongoing demolition of private property by government agencies across Nigeria is saying that the government's actions was even more condemnable and all of that. Several properties that worth millions of naira.
People were putting videos out of him also demolishing properties when he was governor of Anambra State. People would find it difficult to blame the Lagos State government completely for doing these demolitions. In fact, I was saying the Ola of Lagos car lot.
Showroom.
High tension like this, showroom. You understand? But what we are telling the Lagos State government is that, look, instead of allowing these guys to build these things and they come back and start to demolish, let's ensure that the regulatory authorities, town planning officer, and Lagos has got the structure. I told you the last time, regulatory agencies stopping these developments from happening. It's what the Lagos State government also has to look at. You cannot come back and start to demolish what is costing. It will be difficult for anybody to blame the government who move into these places to pull down these structures to ensure that there's sanity. The perception is even bad. The public perception of things like this is bad. But I will say, Mr. Peter B, that look, again, this is about bringing sanity back and looking at the overriding interest of the people. It's not a political matter.
Well, thank you very much, Said, for that. Today is the day of reckoning. We hope the Super Eagles make us proud, and I hope the president will not watch too.
So they are still using that our keeper. That's one bally. That one.
Because why do we need to wait till we qualify with permutations?
No, it's our way.